We are discovering every day in and day out. We are learning new things. We're discovering new things. We are seeing new things. We're understanding new things. And our perspective on things are either changing or expanding. This is all part of discovery.
Come on, everybody, get on your feet today. How many of you serve a big God? How many of you serve a big God? Can I hear you shout in this place?
Discovering the real you. We all have the real us and also have the artificial us or the public us. There's a private you and also there's a public you. And many times people don't know the public you, especially if they live in your home. In your home, they may see the real you. But when you go out of your home, people don't know the real you, they know the public you. So I want us to literally bring the two together and assess and look at this topic, discovering me. Say with me, discovering me. Say it a little louder. Discovering you. I hope you'll be able to learn and also gain enough revelation or wisdom out of this message. Now, I use the word realization or revelation of you. When something is revealed or something is realized, it also means you've discovered something. When you were going to school, you learned a lot about those who came up with inventions. Anyone who came up with invention is usually credited with discovery. Or anyone who exposes what the world or the public is supposed to know, which is not known, this one is considered a discoverer. So when we talk about discovery, it means a lot. And let me just try to put it in the right sense. Discover, what does it mean? Let me put it in a simple term. Discover actually means to see. To see. Say to see. Now say it loud, come on. Don't be too uptight. Say to see. Good. The other one is to get knowledge of. The third description is to learn of. To learn of. When you see something that you've not seen before, you've discovered. When you get knowledge or gain knowledge of something you didn't previously, you've discovered. And also, when you learn something new that you've not learned, you've what? Discover. Another description of the word discover is to gain insight of something previously unknown, undisclosed, unseen, unnoticed, or realized. We are not where we ought to be in life. That is why you and I can boldly say that we are work in progress. There's so much about us that we really don't know. And I think we live to learn, and we learn so we can live. There's a best version of each one of us, not so great version of each one of us, and some worse versions of each one of us. We are all a work of progress. There is in every heart, there is in every mind, oh, I want to improve on what I have. I want to improve on what I've attained. I want to improve on what I've learned, and I want to improve on what I have gained. You and I can also admit that it is not always easy at times. And usually to be the best of you, it doesn't come as quick as you think it will come. Now, for those of us who don't really believe that there are commitments and there are certain efforts we have to put in ourselves, and we shift every burden on prayer, if prayer could fix you overnight, you and I would be amazing people. But as many and as long as you pray, you realize that there's still some things about you, there are some things in you, there are things around you, there are things trailing going on in your head, things in your emotions, things that you really know ought to be fixed. And as desirous as you want it to be fixed like yesterday, is still lingering around, and you're hoping that somehow this particular thing that I so want to see change, at least will be changed in a good time so I could live to enjoy it. Can I have a good amen? Yes. It is not always easy at times. It takes a while, and it's not as quick as it is. Now, many times we become impatient with people. We become impatient with situations, particularly when people or situations are not us, which we demand or expect of them to change as quick as they ought to change. But we ourselves, we don't put so much pressure on ourselves to change as quick as we ought to change. We are discovering every day in and day out. We are learning new things. We're discovering new things. We are seeing new things. We're understanding new things. And our perspective on things are either changing or expanding. This is all part of discovery. There are some people who don't understand the path they are on. They don't understand the journey. They don't understand and even appreciate the track. So they are just out there outing. So many people are tripping on their journey. They're tripping. I mean, they are like, they just don't have any set idea. They're just tripping. They get up today, I just want to trip. And they just go on trips. They take mental trips, emotional trips, physical trips, financial trips. There are those who are not tripping. They are not outing. They are not just walking. They are on vacation. For them, life is a vacation. Life is Florida or Hawaii. For them, everything is vacation. Sunshine. Sunshine. To so many people, it is just like laying at the beach and just enjoying good breeze and eating good food and drinking coconut water and just walking barefoot and wearing them shorts and just having good time, which there's nothing wrong with it. But I just wanted to know that there are certain times and certain places where you have to take this walk seriously. You have to take this journey seriously, take this path seriously, and really ask yourself, am I on this right path? Am I on the path to greatness or the path to failure? We are all on a journey. You are a work in progress, and you have to get to know yourself better with time. There are people who come into your life to induce you to know yourself in a different way. There are certain times, situations will come in your life, which I'll go deeper, which will make you discover areas of your life you didn't know were there. So listen to me very carefully, because I'm getting into your business. And it's necessary I get into your business so you will discover you. There are people, there are circumstances, there are situations that can force you not to be your real self and just lose yourself to become what everybody and anyone expects you to be. I am at a point in life that I do not like anybody to box me. I hate it. It is okay for people not to enjoy your company because they can box you. Don't let people put you in their box, and don't let their limited memory or limited mind keep you in a limited position. The real temptation is to lose yourself and become someone other than the real you. That is why I keep trying to remind people who I am. I don't want you to define me. I want to help you with my own definition. And if you choose not to accept my definition, take a hike. But I will not change, because you see, I didn't know this. When I was young, immature, developing, and learning, I always tried to please my enemies. I learned something in life. Never please your enemies. Just love your enemies. Never try to please your enemies. Just love your enemies. Your command is to love your enemies, but don't please them. If you try to please your enemies, you will lose yourself and find out that you are a lost individual who is trying to find herself or himself and still not find yourself. Some people will not accept you. Just conclude that in their mind, they will not accept you. Don't try to be on a stage for them to appraise your performance. Don't you allow people to make you lose yourself so that you become ordinary instead of being extraordinary. There are many, many people that I've discovered in life who are uncomfortable with themselves. To be honest, they have real self-hate. They hate themselves. They hate the way they look. They hate the way they are becoming. I mean, they hate. I mean, I can tell people find it difficult. I mean, there are some things that you don't like, improve upon. You just discovered that you don't like having a gut. Work on it. You just discovered that there are some things about you that makes you feel uncomfortable. But it should not push you to the point where you hate yourself. At times, you push or you create certain buttons in your own life, and when you push those buttons that you create, you become uncomfortable with yourself, and you try to blame God and blame everybody else for making you who you are. Nobody will treat you the way they treat you without your permission or consent. You have the right to be able to stand up as a believer, stand up as an individual, stand up as a man, stand up as a woman, stand up as a young man, young woman, boy or girl, and said, I will not let you minimize me because of your idea about me. Put your hands together. This is a good place to put your hands together. There are people who choose not to be the real self. It's so far easy for them to be photocopied rather than being the original self. Because if I'm somebody that everybody wants me to be, then anytime I see them, I have to perform for their likeness. If I am what they want me to be, then I have to stay in this position that they keep doing what they do for me. If I don't do this, he won't feed me, she won't clothe me, they won't do this for me, so I have to do this to get their attention. I'm telling you something, there are certain structures, principles, and also there are certain protocols that governs life. Principles, protocols, that governs life. But you don't have to bring yourself to captivity and lose yourself and not actually find the real you. There are so many people living below God's ordained purpose for their lives. I have learned in life that people who soar like eagles don't congregate like vultures. I used to get myself so worried, and God just helped me to discover this about me. So I get to a place, that's why I say, listen, nobody owes me anything. If you like me, fine. If you don't like me, you got yourself. Because I was here before you met me. Before I got to know you, I know me. And if you choose that I don't know you, I'll have good memories of you. But it doesn't have to change who I am. Why? Because I've discovered about me that if I allow myself to take on false impressions, which are not meant to be carried by me, I will live continuously in depression. I will live in self-doubt, self-denial, and I will never live the authentic self and become who I'm meant to be. If you don't know who you are and you don't have the real picture of who you are, irrespective of your age, your color, your language, your tradition, you will be a person who will live below your level. How many people have to think differently and act differently? There are certain things we have to do in modesty, but if you don't know who you are and you don't discover the real you, you just do what is popular. People look through the internet to find the identity in others. And if it is you, stop it. I was looking at a dictionary, and I came to a place and I said, you know something, it is very interesting. There are certain words that we all have to come together in agreement to accept. But I would not let somebody always tell me meaning of things which I don't have any contribution to what I think meaning is supposed to be. Who are the people who sit down and determine This is the meaning of this. Who determines that? Some few groups of people determine that, and they push it down your throat. And you begin to tell me that this is the way you're supposed to be. This is the way you're supposed to act. This is the way you're supposed to be. There are certain things that conscience will tell you. I've discovered who I am. I've discovered who I am. I know the real me. Well, everybody's doing this. I am not everybody. If I don't do, I mean, if you don't, who? This place is not for everybody. This message you are hearing, so what you hear on Sunday mornings. This is not for everybody. We want people to have the Lord in their hearts. We want people to be guided by conscience and by wisdom and also by principles and by values. We want people to understand the way the world works. We don't want to pretend, speak over everybody's head. We want to deal with issues, help people, so Monday through Friday, they'll be able to live comfortable and victorious lives. Why? Because they've discovered who they are. So when they go to the marketplace and things are happening, they don't lose their cool or lose their perspective on life because they are already prepared and know exactly where they're going. Why don't you become like somebody's pastor? I said, no, that's not how I came. I didn't come here for Americans' dream. I had a dream. That's why I came to America. So don't try to make me an American. You get yourself into confusion when you're trying to tell me this is where they think in America, so we have to think like that. I didn't come to think like everybody else. I brought my originality. I brought my uniqueness. I brought my perspective. And I brought my convictions. And I'm passionate about it. This is me. Take it or leave it. You see, when we discover who we are, there are so many things about us that will come clear. There is good in everybody. And there's bad in everybody. I don't think you heard me. I said there's good in everybody. And there's bad in everybody. If you don't think you are bad, you got a potential of being bad. And no one is good. When they came to Jesus and they said, Rabbi, you are a good man. He said, there's no one good but God. Why would Jesus deflect and put it on God? Because he wanted man to know that because of his identity with man, even though he's all good, and he's going to identify with man, he's going to identify to redeem man from the bad stuff that man is in. Because without sin, there will be no salvation. Without sickness, there will be no healing. Without death, there will be no life. There is good in all of us, and there's also bad in all of us. To be honest, there's strength in you and also weaknesses in you. That's why we all have what? Blind spots. There are so many things that we can approach with faith, and there are certain times, in spite of our faith, we what? Doubt. That's a human factor. That's a human factor. That is why I have always said to you, never put any human being on pedestal. We are all human beings. We are all capable of pain, weakness, defeats, and strength. We all have the same feelings. So don't you try to put any man on a pedestal. You respect their office, but consider their humanity. That makes it simple for everybody now to seek the grace of God. So that nobody will say, man, I came in from a higher level. So everybody started from the same spot, from the ground up. Discovering yourself, the real you. We all have beliefs, and we also have what? Unbeliefs. There is in everyone here positive and what? Negative. And I'll be honest with you, There's also kindness and wickedness. You are kind when you got to be, but there's some wicked streak in you too. She said, yeah, because she know I'm talking more about her now. Everybody, can I have a good amen? There is what? Wickedness in every one of us. That is why Jesus can say to Peter, get thee behind me, Satan. Why has Satan filled your heart? Cain and Abel. There is good in us, bad in us, love in us, hatred in us, love in us, hatred in us, love in us, hatred in us. That is why if you want to literally maintain a culture of love, you have to fight against what? Hatred. You have to fight against hatred. And God wants us to discover ourselves so we'll be able to tilt towards the positive side than the negative side. Some will say, you don't know me. You keep pressing the button. You keep pressing the button. You keep pressing the button. By the time you realize, boom, then there is the capacity in all of us. Jesus demonstrated that. He said, listen, I could have called 10,000 angels to stop this, but I'm tilting in this side because I discovered who I am and I know the kind of job I'm supposed to do. There are some people who do not even dare to stand before you and even get your attention. But because you've discovered who you are, you at times let go and become the lowest so that they become better. When you discover who you are, everything about your life will what? Change. 2020, let's discover the real us. Is it okay with you? Yes. I said 2020, let's discover the real us. Romans chapter 7, 6 verses I want to read to you, verse 14 through 20. I want you to listen to Paul expressing himself. This is the man we all admire. And we all want to be like Paul. He said, be like me. Follow me as I follow Christ. Listen to what he had to say, explaining the discovery of himself. He says, for we know that the law is what? Spiritual, but I am carnal, sold under sin. For what I am doing, I do not understand. In other words, there are some things I'm doing, I don't understand why I'm doing it. Are you getting it? Yeah. Yeah. For what I will to do, that I do not practice, but what I hate, that I do. That means the things I don't want to do are the things I do. Are you there yet? Yeah. Are there some things that you don't want to do, but you do? Yeah. And it hurts you when you do them? Yeah. It bothers you when you do them? Yeah. There's some things you promise not to say, but you say them. There's some thoughts you never want to have, but you have them. For what I will to do, that I do not practice, but what I hate, that I do. If then I do what I will not to do, I agree with the law that it is good. But now it is no longer I who do it, but sin that dwells in me. There's something in me. That means I'm the great apostle. I'm the greatest teacher. Very zealous, loved God passionately, was going by it the wrong way, and now I've been apprehended. Now I'm following Jesus. But I want you to know that there's something I've discovered, and that is the sin factor, human factor, weakness factor. There's something in me that makes me do things that I don't want to do. That makes me say things I don't have to say. That makes me think the things I don't have to think. If you understand that, then you could put your life in perspective and realize then that you have no capacity to judge people. You have no capacity to condemn people. You have no capacity to think you've arrived and everybody else is down. Because the Bible says, if you think you are standing, take heed because you can fall. Everybody is capable of doing wrong, and everybody is capable of doing what? Right. Discovering the real you. Here Paul speaking. How can he be so frank to say this? Because preachers will say that. People who have portrayed themselves as arrived, we'll say that. But here Paul is trying to say, listen, I just discovered something about me, and I really want to lay it out here so everybody knows this. I came to make sure that people get free from sin, but I want you to know that there's a human factor in me, and I go through the very things they go through. Verse 18, for I know that in me, that is, in my flesh, nothing good dwells, for to will is present with me, but how to perform what is good, I do not find. You know what? There's a human factor, there's a human element here. The truth is, I realize that in my human flesh, there's no good. That is why you cannot put confidence in the flesh, because there's nothing good in the flesh. Don't put confidence and trust in a human being who may not have the answers to your life. Like them and trust them for a point, but don't trust them absolutely and believe that they are God. No one is God but God himself. I have learned that in life there are certain times you learn that God is a provider when the people you rely on kick you out. You discover some things about yourself. You discover that you can swim. You didn't know you could swim until you were dumped in that pool, or until you were kicked off the cliff, expecting you to drown, only to discover that you that have fear of water now begin to swim like a fish. When you discover something about you, it changes your perspective and everything about you. For I know that in me nothing good dwells. For to will is present with me. To do the right thing is present with me. But how to perform what is good, I do not find. I wish I could find the solutions to solve all the problems, all the challenges. I've done everything I ought to do. I pay all the bills. There are some people who may think it's just about your bill. It's not about your bill. I just don't know, but you see, I've done the best I can. But there's something here. When I get it, it just messed up. When I get this job, I just lose it. When I get married, I get divorced. When I get in a relationship, it gets messed up. I just don't know how to handle it. Everything is messed up. I don't know what's wrong with me. For the good that I will to do, I do not do. But the evil that I will not to do, that I practice. You see the human factor? He's discovering himself that in spite of Paul being looked at as the greatest of all, here he's talking about his humanity. I am not all that perfect guy, but I'm thriving. I'm trying my very best to do the best I can so I will win the prize. I am doing my best so I can run this race that is before me. I am not there yet. Let's all conclude that there's self-discovery that we have to do. You have to make a decision whether you really want this message to help you discover areas of your life, in your thoughts, in your business, in your relationships, that you really need hand up or push up or advancement. And if that's you and you mean business, then hang around with me shortly. In the second service, I'll finish this message. It will be a blessing to you. And to all those who are watching, wherever you are, whether in Africa, Asia, United States, Europe, South Central America, or in any place in the world, I want to help you to discover the real you. And if you can find out the real you, you'll be happy of the outcome. May God bless you and God prepare you for your promotion. Thank you very much for joining our streaming. We hope you will continue regularly. We have positive, inspiring messages designed specially for you. Our goal and our vision is to help you to become all that God wants you to be. And also in your Christian walk, you will be successful. We want you to continue also to support Life International on a regular basis. Go to lifeinternational.us give. And I pray for your commitment. God bless you for giving.